Salve governors! It's time for another guide for Anno 117. My name's the Honey Badger and today we're going to talk all about production statistics, how to properly read the view, production bonuses and how to understand them, and lastly, watching this video will make you understand why the production apps on Google Play or videos giving you production layouts are utterly useless. But for that, you're going to need to check the middle of the video. Anyway, as always, check out the description for chapters to skip the things you might already know. Buckle up your togas and let's start. Firstly, we're going to go through the basics. To access the production statistics, simply press Ctrl Q or click your profile project. There are even more ways to do it, but it's not the main topic of this video. Those were already covered in my UI guide that you can check in the description. Starting off on your left side, you got all of the islands, both in Latium and Albion. Every time you open this screen, by default, an island will be selected. Usually it's the island you are on. If we're gonna escape, we can see it on Ceres Island. If I do Ctrl Q, we are automatically selected Ceres. If we are in the middle of the open sea, in that case, all of the islands will be selected. Now, when a single island is selected, it will show you the production statistics of that island. If you select multiple islands by control clicking, you will get the summed up productions for all of the islands selected. To not create confusion, we're going to analyze a single island and keep this trend until we're gonna need all of the islands. Let's move on our attention to the center of the screen. Over here you will have categories of products. The free bars, it means all of the goods. The shop is the citizens' needs that you're going to need to supply in order to increase the population or the denarii amount per minute. The construction materials is all of the construction materials you are having in production in this island. Then raw materials is the ores, the planks, the charcoal, etc. Afterwards you got the agricultural goods, which are usually grains and animals or seashells. And then you got intermediate products. Basically these are the products that were processed once and they need a second time processing to obtain the final good. Apart from this, when you got one tab selected, you can also search for the good you are looking for. So if you're looking for, I don't know, clay, you just type it in and it will automatically select the clay. Got it until now? Good. Let's move our attention to the products themselves. Let's give a watch to sardines firstly. Starting off with the gear icon. It represents the production capacity you have on the island. The values here are per minute. The next one right below it is the demand capacity. This one tells you how much sardines per minute is being consumed by your island. With that out of the way, let's focus on the colors. They are more important and much more clearer than the numbers. We are going to start with the production first. The bright green color, like we got on our fish, states that we have enough production buildings and they are currently producing enough to satisfy the needs of our citizens or even overproduction. A dark green color, like we got on our olive oil, means that we have the necessary production buildings to be able to produce that good. However, we are lacking the raw materials needed in order to produce that said good. In our case, we are lacking olives. And lastly, a dark blue bar means that we do not have the necessary amount of production buildings to be able to produce that said good to satisfy the population we currently have. Now let's move to demand. It's similar story with the production mostly. A full white bar means that the demand is fully met and you have the required resources in storage. A partially full white bar with dark blue means that you satisfy the current demands of that product and you are overproducing some of that good. And lastly, we have the grayish type bar. This means that you are missing raw resources to satisfy all the production buildings that are using the said product. This one is a little bit more confusing, but as a simple example, we need 3 olives per minute to fully satisfy olive oil production building. Whilst the olive oil production building states that we can output 3 olive oil per minute, we only need 1 per minute. Wait, you might wonder, why did I state that the numbers are not important but the bars are? And at the end I started explaining both of them at the same time. Well, the reasoning for not trusting the numbers is because you might be needing only half a product per minute. For example, at wine, you need roughly around 0.4 tons of wine per minute. But the number will not tell you that, it just shows 1/1. However, the bar will tell you. To summarize things in Unga Bunga terms, full green production and white plus dark blue demand is good. Dark blue production in most scenarios means bad. Still too obscure? Well, continue watching since we still got more to cover. With that out of the way, let's discuss about the next column, namely consumption and production per minute. This is a very basic way to check what products you are missing to satisfy on your island. The best way to use it is to check it in an ascending fashion, to see which goods are missing and by how much. Over here, sadly, the island view, it doesn't give it justice. This is because it doesn't offer you a good overview of products you are importing. We're going to discuss imported products a bit later in the video. However, for now, know that this option exists. The next one is the productivity percentage. This is the one I usually rely in order to make sure everything is running smoothly without too many problems. And for that, we're going to discuss the expected production percentage. Basically, everything below 100% means that the production of that said building is not working properly. And for this, there are 4 possible reasons this happens. The first one, the input goods, for example the hemp that is going into my tunics production, is not being able to be provided for every single production cycle. Well, let's check. In Mars, over here, I have the toga over here that is producing at 63% capacity. If we're going to look at the hemp storage, I have 193 hemp. A ship barely now delivered the hemp in order to continue production over here. A second reason is that your warehouse might be full of goods, especially during the overproduction phase, as we can see on this island over here. Basically, bread is at 93% production speed. If we're gonna check the production of buildings over here, we're gonna see that the island storage is 348 out of 350, therefore is filled to capacity, and that's why this building gives a very low production percentage. A third reason is that you are lacking workers, like we see on this island over here. Basically, we are lacking workers inside the jeweler and the production is dropping by quite a lot. The fourth reason is that the production building has an event. Either it is on fire or has a riot or something that is causing it to temporarily stop working. The last column is about production profit per minute. I will be very straight with you over here. I am completely clueless how to use this column and how I can find it even remotely useful. Even in legendary runs, I couldn't find a place where I needed to manage the amount of money each good provides. And the last thing we need to talk about in this UI is the production breakdown. This little arrow over here. It can also be accessed by simply clicking directly on the product itself, as we can see over here. This grid is very nice for noticing production issues that occurred in the last 120 minutes or so. Now let's take the Sandals usage and check across all of our islands to see if we can spot any problems with the production. Remember, this is an exercise. As we can see from this graph, Sandals were plus 5 tons 40 minutes ago, then it dropped to plus 4 tons 30 minutes ago, and then went back to plus 5 tons 20 minutes ago. Let's figure out why the plus 4 dropped over here. Well, let's check individually each island and see where the production hiccup occurred. Checking the Ceres island, we can see that it's flatlined. Checking Mars, we can also see that it's completely flatlined. Checking Minerva, we can see a small dump 30 minutes ago. Basically, on Minerva over here, the problem was present in the past. Let's also check it out and see what's up with it. Firstly, let's go to the island that caused this problem over here. Checking the storage of the island, we're going to notice that Sandals are nowhere near full. Therefore, we can consider that it's not an oversupply issue, but it can be an undersupply issue. Let's check the intermediate products, the leather. The leather, currently we have 16 over. If it was an undersupply issue, then this number should have been 0 or 1 or 2 at best. But since we have above 2, this means that it's not a supply issue for the intermediate product. Therefore, from these two statistics, we can fully predict that on this island an event happened like a riot, which affected the Sandals production just for several minutes, and then it recovered completely. Now, this example isn't doing it justice to the logic, and it might not help you that much. So let's go and explore a much cleaner example, shall we? Let's talk about the Porrige setup that I have in my legendary playthrough. We can see that I have over here set up a Ceres island to mass produce porridge. The reasoning I am mass producing porridge is that the porridge stand and the oat farm does not provide me with any type of area of effect bonuses. Therefore, I can freely produce it only on one single island and then distribute it across all of my islands. Now let's see the production statistics I have set up for my Ceres island over here. If we're going to go into it, we can see that we are producing 22 porridge per minute. Now you might think that this is overkill, but it's actually not. Let's check all of the islands in Latium and see how porridge looks like for them too. As we can see, we are requiring 15 porridge per minute to satisfy all of the needs, and we are producing 22. That's perfectly fine and perfectly reasonable. Moreover, if we're going to check the graph, it's all over the place. Sometimes it's going up to 30 porridge per minute. Sometimes it flatlines at 22 porridge. Other times it goes even at +3 porridge. So something is going down over here. We clearly have a problem. Now let's figure out why the porridge distribution is a problem, although I can see that we are clearly overproducing. Well, let's just check the trading route. Well, as we can see, the trading route contains a querem transporting 300 tons of porridge to 3 other islands and also to Diana to sell the overstock that we have. That should theoretically be enough, right? Well, I'm unsure if it is. Let's check the route a bit and understand how it works. It starts from Ceres, it goes to Minerva, then to Mars, and afterwards to Neptune. then to Diana over here to sell the overproduction. Now let's see how much we have on each individual island. Checking Minerva, we can see that the porridge is 228. Nothing wrong over here. Checking Mars, we can see the porridge is at 192. Again, nothing wrong over here, everything is looking good. Checking Neptune, porridge is very low at the moment. It's at 54, so barely we are getting enough porridge to Neptune. And if we are going to check the trade routes yet again, this ship currently is heading to Neptune. It's not heading to Diana yet. This means that it did not drop the porridge in Neptune. This is the porridge that was dropped previous cycles. Secondly, I have paused the game at the right time over here. We can see that porridge is being stockpiled to 250 tons in Ceres Island. But our trading ship currently is nearby Neptune. It's barely delivering now to Neptune. So, although we are properly producing enough porridge, the bottleneck is caused by the overfilled warehouse at the Ceres Island over here. Of course, to fix this problem, we have multiple paths we can apply over here. I can mark the ship inside the trading route over here as wait for goods, because Ceres Island currently can stockpile up to 250 tons, but my ship can pick up to 300 tons. By marking it wait for goods, it will wait for 50 extra tons to be loaded before going to the next island. The second fix that I can do is to create a new ship and add it to this route, so I increase the pickup frequency. Or the third fix, I could just increase the island storage. But all of these fixes are trading fixes. Therefore, they're more suited to discuss them during the trading guide, which will come in a future video. Anyway, for now, I hope you understood how to read the production statistics and how to debug the problems. Let's also discuss why the production layouts and the production calculators suck majorly. For this, let's take a bare bones example. Oats. The oat farm at 100% base productivity, for it, one oat takes 1 minute to produce. Be careful, I have mentioned base productivity. The keyword base is very important here for later down the guide. Anyway, right now the math is pretty simple. One oat farm produces 1 oat per minute. One porridge stand takes 1 oat and produces 1 porridge per minute. Everything simple, nothing too overcomplicated. Well, let's start upgrading the production speed of the oat farm from the most common upgrade to the most rare things that you can do to it to see how this impacts this layout logic. Let's start with the most common one, aqueducts. Once you research it, the aqueducts will provide water to your farms and the farm gets a 50% bonus productivity. I say bonus productivity, be very careful. Therefore, now my oat farm is being able to produce oats every 40 seconds instead of every minute. Already we can see how the production layouts just literally got thrown off the charts. Now it gets even more crazy. One oat farm basically covers 1 1/4 porridge stand. The next thing about oats is if we got the Ceres boon. Over here on this island, we can check and see that the Ceres boon together with the connection to the aqueduct will give us a 31 processing time. So theoretically we are getting almost 2 oats per minute at the moment. And this is not quite that crazy because one oat farm still covers 1.25 porridge stand. This is because the only buff that we're getting is the aqueduct bonus productivity. The porridge stand is also affected by the Ceres boon. Now, let me blow your mind even further. Let's load up a more recent episode of my legendary playthrough. Let's talk now about Ceres Global Exaltation effect and see what it does. Basically, it's giving you 50% more farm fields, increasing the base productivity from 100% base to 150% base. Again, I mentioned base productivity intentionally. You know how that changes the math above? Well, let's check it together. A single oat farm that you're going to put down and fill it up with all of the farms required will give you a base productivity of 1 oat every 40 seconds. By default, this is just 150% base productivity and 1 oat farm handles 1.25 porridge sand. Now, let's fuck everything up. Let's move our attention to aqueducts. If we're going to place an oat farm somewhere where an aqueduct is present and fill up everything, we can see now that the connected to aqueduct bonus is giving us 50%. But let's check the processing time. Now instead of 40 seconds, we are getting 26 seconds. Theoretically, 150 plus 50% means 200% bonus. This means that our oat farm should have processed in half the time, meaning from 1 minute it should have gone down to 30 seconds. But that did not happen. It actually went down to 26 seconds. Well, why do you think that happens? Well, that's because the base productivity, basically the 50% bonus for connection to aqueduct, is actually 150 base productivity times the 50% bonus. Actually gives you a 75% bonus in total. So you got the default 150 plus the 75%, you're getting 225% bonus productivity. Therefore, you are actually producing oats every 26 seconds instead of 30 seconds. Let's check the layouts that any application could have shared with you. Well, the oat farm now, the ratios are a bit weird. Basically, one oat farm can sustain 2.31 porridge stands. Yay! Go math, right? Well, we can fuck it up even more. Let's actually check the Ceres bonus. In Ceres Island over here, we can see that the total production we are getting is actually 315%. We reduced the processing time down to 19 seconds currently. And sadly, it really doesn't matter on this side of things, because the porridge stand and the oat farms are equally affected by the Ceres bonus. Therefore, it means still that one oat farm can sustain 2.31 porridge stands. Now, this is not enough. We're not yet done. Let's also go and investigate directly the super rare situation where you also introduce specialists in the mix. There are actually two specialists that affect the productivity. Basically, the oat grinder, which is giving you 10% productivity, and Casponia casta, which is giving you 25 default productivity or 50% productivity if you slot her on an island where Ceres is the patron god. I'm going now to discuss about the most optimized production layout, since this video is already too damn long. So let's see, you have the base productivity of 150% from the oats farm. Now we are adding on top of it the connected to aqueduct productivity, which adds a total of 75% production speed. Totaling right now, you have 225% bonus for oats. You also can get up to 100% bonus productivity from Ceres itself. So this means another 150% boost in production speed. This totals us to 375% production speed until now. Then, if you are lucky and you are getting the 60% extra bonus productivity from specialists, this means a total of 90 extra percent of total production speed. This is netting you a total productivity score of 465%. Now, sadly, I cannot show you this scenario because my current legendary playthrough is not there yet. But this means if you're going to do the maths, 1 minute divided by 465, it means that you're producing one oat every 12 seconds. Let that sink in. From 60 seconds, we dropped down to 12 damn seconds. Oh, and also, porridge stands boost are not that crazy. At maximum, you can get the 100% bonus from Ceres that we discussed and the 10% bonus from the oat grinder. So you'll get a total of 210 productivity boost. Still, 210 versus 465, there's a huge difference between them. This means that a single oat farm in this scenario with all of the boosts will net you 2.33 porridge stands for each oat farm you have. This means that you're going to get 2.14 porridge per minute for every single setup like this. This is way too overcomplicated. You don't need an app to tell you this. You don't need a YouTuber like me to tell you this. You can just figure it out directly from the game. Let's see how that's possible. Just for the example's sake, I went ahead and deleted everything related to porridge on this island, both the oat farms and the porridge stands. Now, the current Ceres bonus is at 60%. The current aqueduct bonus will be 50% also, but we don't care at all about this. Let's check the production statistics screen over here. If we're going to check across all of our islands, we're going to need to supply 15 tons of porridge. Therefore, the first thing that I'm going to do is to go somewhere and place some porridge stands. I'm just gonna place one porridge for now and then check the production statistics yet again. I can see that by placing this porridge stand, I have 2 porridge per minute at the moment. So in order to satisfy all of the needs, basically 15, over here, we're going to need to place somewhere around 7 or 8 porridge stands. Let's do that right now. So we got 1, we're just gonna need 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Now, if we're gonna check over here, the porridge is 13 right now. This is because of the decimals. As I mentioned, you're producing somewhere around 2 point something something. Well, no problem. I just go back and place another porridge stand and recheck it again. We are at 14. We're gonna need 1 more porridge stand. There we go. And now we are at 16. This is enough to cover all our island needs. For safety reasons, we can put a few more porridge stands just to make sure that we are producing way more porridge than needed in order to meet the supply. We can always sell the supply, but we cannot generate new supply from thin air. So we are now at 22 porridge. Let's do the same thing with the farms. Basically, I'm going to plonk down a farm over here at the very end, and then construct all the fields required. If I'm going to check the production right now, I can see that I'm getting 3 oats per minute for each individual farm. So what I can do is to put even more farms until I get the 22. Theoretically, I need 6 more farms. Do that right now. This is 1. And now we can recheck productivity again. There we go, we are at 19/19. Let's add one more oats farm. And we are 22/22. Now, as I explained, green with dark blue is not good. Therefore, let's put one more farm to make sure that everything is alright. And done. We have 25/25 oats, and we are using 22/22 of it. Now you tell me, why bother calculating all of the math shenanigans above when you can just quickly do Ctrl Q, check the production, build more buildings, and then Ctrl Q back and see if you met the production. And yeah, now Porrige is an example that is simple, but I turned it complex. Let's try a complex example that we're gonna turn it very simple, shall we? Well, let's see. The most complex commodity in Anno 117, the one that is being used across a lot of production buildings, more than 12 different recipes require this, is the charcoal. Now, the charcoal itself, to exemplify it, is being used both in the bread production, both in the production of soap, Porrige. The weapons also have the same thing. If we're going to check over here, weapons require 2 times the charcoal. The armor also require 2 times the charcoal. So there's a lot of production recipes that need a lot of charcoal. Now you can stay and do and calculate all of the proper math, or you can check the patron gods firstly. The only god that benefits charcoal is Mars. So just build a Mars island like I have over here, Mars 1 island, which is getting 60% productivity for the charcoal. Go directly to the Mars island over here, hit the productivity window, check under raw resources and see the amount of charcoal you are producing. Check all of the islands, see that you're needing 20 charcoal for all of the islands to satisfy their production needs. Okay, we need to produce at minimum 20 charcoal in Mars. So let's go back to Mars. We are at 15 right now. I don't care about production speeds. I don't care about anything. I'm just going to plonk down more charcoal buildings around here. One over here and one over here randomly. There we go. If we're gonna check the production specifics, we are at 21/21. No worries, we're gonna chuck it in the fuck it bucket, another charcoal burner here and another one over here. Now we are at 28/28 charcoal. All that remains to do is to create a trade route that is taking the charcoal from Mars and distributing across all my islands. This is way faster than me trying to calculate, okay, each charcoal burner is producing every 18 seconds. Each charcoal that is being used, let's take for example the tiles we are doing over here in Neptune. Let's see, where are they? There we go, over here. Basically each charcoal gets consumed at 2 minutes 24, and this is because of the research bonuses. By default it's only 2 minutes. But basically now I need to do the math in my head. Okay, I'm producing charcoal every 30 seconds or every 18 seconds as we saw on Mars Island, and I'm consuming a quarter of a charcoal per minute. Now let's see how much charcoal we're gonna need. No, that's utter bullshit. You don't need to do it. Just simply go and build yourself a Mars Island, do all of the charcoal on this island, and simply have a trade route going around and supplying charcoal across all of your islands. You don't need any layouts, you don't need anything like that. Just chuck it down, check the production, and that's all. And you might be wondering, what will happen if in the future I'm just gonna need more charcoal? Well, I just go back to Mars, build more. End of story, nothing more. Maybe add a new ship if the current ship can't handle all of my islands. And nothing else is needed. And that's kind of all I had to present. Thanks for watching, and thanks for these guys over here. Due to their extra donations that they have done to the channel, I've managed to make enough money to spend 300 buckaroos on DaVinci Resolve, a stupidly overpowered editor. At least that's what I think compared to my old crappy CapCut edition that also increased its subscription. In return for their donations, they are also getting early access to all of my videos ahead of time, since I am batch uploading 4 to 5 videos at once. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so to stay updated with even more guides like these, and also like the video. And while you're at it, feel free to even say hello in the comment section or tell me tricks you know and I did not explain yet. I read and respond to all of your comments. And lastly, guides can be brought out of context and explained at endgame level. Until you get there, the journey is dangerous and filled with clusterfucks. Feel free to check my legendary run over here to see how I managed to build, conquer, and excel at a legendary run. Until next time, I'm the Honey Badger, and I'm out.